Welcome to Chaos Conjure,
the podcast where we navigate the complexities of being pagan in an Appalachian mountains.
This is Jay.
This is Dottie.
Fill your sippy cups.
Put on your grippy socks. And grab your magic wands. Hi folks! Today's episode is going to be discussing mental health issues in the pagan community. Remember, if you're struggling, the national hotline is 988. There is no shame in reaching out. I would rather stay up all night with you than sit at your funeral.
Ashe, for real. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me good? Let's go. Let's do it. We are freezing. It is so that you It is 30 damn degrees. I'm not sitting down. I'm not putting my ass on that cold seat. Oh no, baby. I got hand warmers. We stopped at the Family Dollar. We didn't even We didn't stop at the Family Dollar. We ran to the Family Dollar and ran in. Right. I am trying to start my things to get them hot because my fingers are freezing. I don't have my winter gloves on.
Oh yeah, we got plenty of time on here.
I have my stylish going to work and need to be cute gloves on. Alright. So yeah. Shaking this little puppy up. Welcome. Okay. Where the hell are we? Hi, it's Jay.
The amount of trust. It's Dottie. And Dottie, is it Dottie? I don't know. It's very Dottie. Did you know that Dottie is actually an adjective for crazy?
Oh, that's so on point.
It is.
So on
which
point.
brings us to where we are.
Point. And our topic for today.
Yes. So we are at the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
We're home. We're home.
I don't want to admit it how much I love this building. It is one of those West Virginia
landmarks.
It is a
landmark.
It is one of the biggest sandstone-faced. I will leave all the details in here. Dottie, do a cut-in.
Okay, so I'm not going to give you any information because I'm trying to get this video out the door and I want to get it edited. I did, however, do a video on the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum before. I literally named it the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum was a lot of fun. It's on Madame Tortuga's Lounge. It's got 4 views. I was actually kind of proud of it. So instead of giving you any real information, I will tell you a funny story instead. Because the reason I went the first time was because I was chasing this girl. And we had been on a couple of dates. And she invited me to go with her for her birthday to the lunatic asylum. Which, great date plan. She had like a bunch of people ready to go. So she invited me. And then it didn't work out. I tapped it and ran. I know what I did. And, like, she kind of scared me a little bit. But, you know, we're all on our own paths. But that's what happened. So that happened between her inviting me and going. When it was like, hey, I got real close. I'm like, hey, can I still go with you to the asylum? So it was a very, very awkward and entertaining experience. I had a great time. I called her after this, like, not long after this. She was like, I think I need to be alone for a little while. I'm like, okay. So that's that story. If you get a chance, check out that video. The Legend of the Dot.
With all the information.
Yes. Okay. So we are in.
Let me start again.
I need a minute. She's starting over. While she's doing that, I'm gonna keep talking. Let her get herself together. So yeah, it is freezing cold out here. It is freezing cold out here. She is doing the I'm in West Virginia and it's too cold to be outside dance. And the sun is setting, and that's also a problem, you guys.
We're gonna be at the haunted place.
We are at Trans-Allegheny Insane Asylm, which is
supposed to be
a very haunted place. They have tours of the whole nine, like it's worldwide known. People come here from everywhere. the wind is blowing, and we are sitting in front of a wet fountain. Just to add cold, insult to injury.
Right, because of course we are.
So
The
we're
things
here.
we do for you.
Right. We are here today doing Chaos Conjure at the asylum because we want to talk about mental health of people who practice, pagans who practice, people in general, but particularly pagans.
Yeah, we do, because as a pagan community, there is a certain level of stigma that gets added because we don't believe what everybody else believes.
Right.
We
Right.
see things, we hear things.
Right.
And certainly there are people who have mental health disorders that practice, but they're not connected.
Right. And so the thing is you can have a mental illness and a gift, an esoteric gift. You can have a gift and not be mentally ill, and mentally ill and not have a gift. So they're not like all intertwined. And in fact, they very rarely are.
I've met a lot of people with I've met people who had some pretty severe mental illness, like schizophrenia and things.
Yes.
That were very gifted.
Yes.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
It's funny because I actually had this conversation. I'll also be talking, go ahead and give a content warning. I will be talking about some of my own personal experience in the mental health field, both as a former LPN. I know that you're a current CNA. Yes. So both as a professional, but also as somebody who I only had to take one grippy sock vacay, and to be fair, there was a lot going on. So content warning for all of that shit. The good old bad days.
Right. But we're here not to judge, just to offer insight. If you see us both jumping around, just so that you know, we are freezing. I'm sitting on a cold metal bench with a hot hand steak sitting on it. But we just want to talk about how when we as practitioners, as pagans, crafters, whatever we call ourselves, have a mental health issue, especially like depression, bipolar, those types of things, we can't get the same help that secular
It's a
people do.
crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. Like, that's the thing. It's like you have to. And here's the thing. I want to start this off by saying there is nothing wrong with doctor shopping. If you feel
No,
like
there's
your
not.
physician, your psychiatrist, your psychologist ain't listening to you,
Go to
move
the
on.
next.
Slight left.
Absolutely. But but the thing is that we get treated differently a lot of times because like I've gone to a few therapists and
They tell you pray on it.
oh my god, yeah, told me to talk to my church community, then told some people that I know within the church community that I needed help and that they needed to pray for me because I was not worshiping God. I needed to strengthen my relationship with God.
That is such a
So, needless to say, we didn't go that route and we reported that person because we do that.
Yeah, that is such a huge, because you are protected by HIPAA.
Right,
Like,
absolutely.
So if somebody's out there, if your psychiatrist or your physician is telling your secrets, fucking sue.
Absolutely.
See,
Absolutely. But the thing is there are some out there, and somewhere in this video or below this video or something in the comments, we will try to help as best we can.
right?
Just take note that we are in West Virginia, so
It's going to be different everywhere.
it's
If you're
going
out
to
there
it's going to be
listening-
different everywhere. It's
Right.
easier when you are in a bigger city. West Virginia, we're in the mountains, and we don't get a lot of the newfangled things because we are country.
We're like 20.
We're a few years back.
Traditionally speaking, West Virginia has been known for being about a decade behind.
Yes.
On a good day.
At least. But the thing is that,
It's funny because with everything going on, we've been actually like climbing because everybody else is falling so fucking hard.
I know! We're not really gaining, it's just everybody else is falling behind.
Like, we're not last.
But part of this video, this main part of the video while we're out here freezing, especially where we are, is just to let you know that there is help out there. You do have to look for it. You have to go and find it because it's there.
It is there.
And a lot of times,
and you can find help that will actually help you, because I know there are a lot of pagans who go into the field because of
for
the
that reason, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is that like when you find someone,
and they don't have to be pagan.
Right, they don't necessarily have to be pagan. But when you find someone, ask them if it's okay to drop their information, like their, you know what I'm saying? Something about them in the comments so that everybody else that's watching can see, for one. Two, if you do find someone, like if you're talking to someone, excuse me, in your community, like if I'm talking to Dottie and I'm like, hey, you know, I'm struggling. If Dottie has a therapist that she knows, share. You know what I'm saying? Share with the people.
You can share that at Metro Valley Pagan Pride, or Envy Pagan Pride. But also,
but share it with your community. You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody has MVPP like we have.
Right.
You know, some of you guys are watching our videos, and if you don't know exactly where you are, it'd be nice if you told us. But some of you guys are watching our videos, and you might have a small community that you talk to and you hang out with. But if one of them has a good therapist, or you have a good therapist, share the info. Don't gatekeep.
Also, there is a national hotline. Like, we're blasting through the information here, and I may actually bump this to the beginning.
That's fine.
All right. So, I'm gonna do a quick content warning, and I can chop in earlier.
Yes. Okay. Hi. We need a content warning, you guys. Dottie's gonna do it.
Hi, folks. Today's episode is going to be discussing mental health issues in the pagan community. Remember, if you're struggling, the national hotline is 988. There is no shame in reaching out. I would rather stay up all night with you than sit at your funeral.
Ashe, for real. Okay, that was our quick service announcement, our PSA. And everything that follows the PSA, we totally stand by, even if one of us is sitting down right now.
Yeah, because it is 30 damn degrees, and I just want to put my ass on. Yeah. It might be dropping. The sun is dropping.
Yeah, so we are.
Speaking of mental health issues, we kind of just ran out here and did this.
Yeah.
We are not close.
Impulsiveness, just so that you guys know, impulsiveness is kind of a mental health issue. So be careful with that as well.
Right. It goes with ADHD. It's a symptom.
It is a symptom of ADHD.
Right.
And bipolar. Right. So,
you know, like, it's funny.
There are lots of things that we don't think about. Like, I suffer from seasonal depression. One of the things that I do, excuse me, in conjunction with my craft work, my crystals and things like that, is I do talk to a therapist. And I have more appointments with my therapist during the winter than I do any other time of year, because it's something about the shorter days.
Oh, it is.
That,
it's
that
cold.
just throws
the cold
me.
gets in my bones, man.
Yes.
The cold gets in my bones.
And I am ashamed, not because I'm going to therapy, but because sometimes I will cancel because it's cold outside.
No,
You know what I'm saying? So I don't feel shame because I go. I feel ashamed because I know I need to go and I don't want to go outside because it's cold. But my therapist is really cool, and they let me do like virtual ones when it's really cold outside. So it does make a difference.
Right.
You know, I have a really good therapist.
I do not.
I have, my therapist is through my insurance at work.
Right.
So I like really lucked up. But I don't know if she takes, like, I know she's not in the state of West Virginia.
Right.
You know, and that bothers me. Because it's virtual, but there are times when I'm just like, yeah, I can't do this. It's too cold, and I don't want to do this right now.
Right.
Reschedule.
I guess sometimes, man, I tell you what, sometimes the blues get you. There's not, like, it is not a moral failing to have a mental health disorder. And I think that, like, here's the thing. Like, as a pagan, I'm like, my fingers are not in the gloves, so that's why it's I'm balled up because it's cold. We drove a fair distance, as you know, so a lot of our episodes are based sort of close to Charleston. We decided that, like, because we've missed a couple of months, partially because of my personal mental health. I also have.
Same.
Yeah,
Same.
it's the dark part of the year. It's the dark part of my mind. But also because I left my office, so I figured that this would be a good place. This would be a good conversation, but also a good place to do it.
Right.
So we're at the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. Definitely check it out. I'm gonna put a cut
I'm
in
checking
here.
weather right now because
All right, Dottie put in a cut in here all about the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic
No.
Asylum, and that sort of, creepy West Virginia stuff. It is 30 degrees.
it feels like 20, you guys.
It does. It's got just
It
enough of a
feels like 20.
Yes,
That is so disrespectful.
it is.
That is just so disrespectful.
So I love how we kind of ramble. So I think we've kind of talked about what the episode is going to be about. So let's kind of let's get into it. Let's talk about, because I know we talked about having seasonal depressive disorder.
Yes.
I have had, so a little bit about me. I went through a very bad marriage. It lasted, I was with a guy for 10 years. And when things got really bad, I very, very nearly ended my own life. And the day after, I ended up in the psych ward. And there was a lot of things going on in the interim, but I have definitely, because of that experience, I've seen people who have a very compassionate response to people with mental illness, and people who want to superimpose their own personal beliefs on other people in the most inappropriate times.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's not that bad.
Or, I was like, this
just
works
pray
for me.
about it.
Pray about it.
I did this and it worked for me, even though it really didn't.
Right, because your life is going so well, Karen. Your life is just the fucking perfect epitaph of what it could be. Yay! I'm not even sure that's the right word.
Sorry, we're very sarcastic because it's very cold outside. You guys can't see I don't know, you can see my hair moving in the wind. It's windy. I say that and then the wind has to burn the blood.
Right.
It's windy and it's cold and we are in the valley
And the sun is
and
going
the sun
down.
is not in the valley anymore.
The sun has left the valley. I want to take some pictures of this beautiful freaking trees.
Yes.
We're gonna get some beautiful B-roll for me to talk over. But let's talk a little bit about kind of how we can tell the difference between a mental health symptom and an awakening, because
Right. So okay. So I'll
we're
go
laughing
in on that.
because it's gonna make you feel crazy.
So there are people who are gifted with sight. So they see the dead, they see the not quite living, they see things. There are some that hear things, like the voices,
I hear things.
and I hear and see. So catch me on a good day,
Right.
you know?
And you know
But
what? That's
they're
the thing.
not-
A lot of times you may not see a whole lot. You may just see
Right.
a fusion. Some people see
Right.
more than other people.
Exactly.
Just
And so I know that when I was being diagnosed and everything with ADHD and all of that, we were talking and I looked at, because I was in Georgia when I was diagnosed, and I had a really good group of people that were working with me. And one of them did not, she practiced an ATR, which is African traditional religion. And I was talking to her and I let it slip, because that's how we feel. I let it slip. That,
It feels like you're dropping your mask for somebody
Yeah.
when you're talking
Yeah.
about mental health.
but I let it slip that that sometimes I see the not quite living. And
The previous living.
right.
Well, not all of them.
Right.
We're
But
never
she was
living.
just
They're
like,
fine.
oh, okay, so how does that make you feel? And
A little crazy. It
right,
makes you
and
feel
we were just talking about it, and then 20 minutes later, it dawns on me that she didn't
bat an eye.
She did not bat an eye. She didn't say, oh, you're hallucinating. Nothing like that. And I was just like, oh, wait a minute. You know?
No.
And she said, yeah. She's like, I'm from Africa, and sometimes these things happen. And it doesn't mean that you're crazy, it just means you're different. You know? And I was just like, oh, okay. You know, and I was very excited that she said that. But I have been in situations where I hear, you know, the words, I hear the voices, and, you know, I see the beings.
Yeah.
And I do ask myself sometimes, am I hallucinating? Is this a visual hallucination? Is this an auditory hallucination? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Same. Like, and you kind of
And-
like, you have to either.
But there's always a purpose with it. You know, there's always a purpose with it. I haven't had like what I would call a true hallucination or anything, but they're there. Like I see and I hear and I feel and all of that sort of stuff.
And a lot of times you can kind of tell the difference. I've talked to other people with more severe, because like I understand, like I have severe anxiety with and depression with suicidal ideology.
Yes.
So I mean, I know that there are people with way worse psychological issues. Like people, like I've got friends who are schizophrenic and
Yes.
and have had in extreme bipolar situations. Those can actually make you hallucinate, like either extreme mania or extreme depression. But even then, like a lot of times, there's almost number one, like if somebody else sees it too, then it's not just you.
Right.
Which
right.
is a lot of times where we tend to either flock together or be completely isolated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. I had a therapist save my life. Like, I'll never forget.
Because I seen what you see.
No, but they let me talk it out. They
Gotcha.
didn't judge me. Like, if you
Gotcha.
can have a therapist that doesn't necessarily believe what you believe, but if they're willing to sit with you in your space. 'Cause
Right.
That's something
and
that's,
just, yeah.
yeah. Because
Hold that space.
this is something I learned from working with people, especially in like the nursing home. Some people would hallucinate. Like, I will never forget, like, you get somebody with a UTI, and they're
Someone 2 minutes away from death.
and they are not, they're perceiving another reality.
Absolutely.
And if you're not willing to get in that reality and sit with them there, you are never going to reach them,
Right.
you know?
Right. Right.
That's something we bounce, like, the ADHD is real and it's cold, so, like,
Yeah,
we're gonna,
so-
and this is a heavy subject, so we're just
And
gonna,
this is, just so that you know, this is something that we will revisit. Because it is something that is ongoing. I would always recommend finding somebody, you know, and talking to them until you feel like you can really talk to them.
right.
You know, I
don't feel like you can talk to them, it is
move
okay
to the next
move
person.
on.
Right. Like I have gone through, I know when I was in Atlanta, before I found the team that I found down there, and I miss them dearly, before I found them, I went to a therapist, and she was like, hey, what's going on? I was like, yeah, you know, so I'm super depressed. And she was like, why? You know, and it threw me because, what do you mean why? Like, that's just what I am. And so we were talking, and
Because the brain's not making the happy pill.
right. And so she was like, well, what makes you happy? So I'm telling her, you know, crafting with the crystals and herbs and things like that makes me happy.
Right.
And she's like, oh, well, have you thought about going to church? And
That is just
at first, I did not know, being a black woman, when we say we hurt, if we say, oh, our pain is at a level 10, then they're like, oh yeah, well, you can handle that. That's not that bad. Because historically, they say black people handle pain better. That's not true.
I can't stand it when
But-
nobody says that.
But she was one of those types of people, like, oh, you know, it doesn't affect you the way you say it does. You're just exaggerating. And so she was like, oh, you should go to church. And she was like, you should go to this particular church. And so she gave me the name of the church and stuff. And I was like, oh, I know people to go to this church. Mind you, I'm supposed to be in a safe space. And I'm like, oh, I know people to go to this church. My cousin goes to this church. And I literally said my cousin's name. And I named a friend of mine and a couple of other people that I knew that went to that church. And I'm thinking, I'm in a safe space. So a couple of weeks later, I am somewhere and I happen to see a couple of these people that go to that church. And they walk up to me and they're like, hey, how are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm okay. You know, because I was having a good day. And they were like, yeah, I heard you were depressed. And I'm like, yeah, you know I was. Didn't think anything of it. And then they started telling me things that I told the therapist.
That's devastating.
And the therapist, one of the things the therapist told my friends was that they needed to hold an intervention for me and get me back into the hands of God.
Listen, I love
And
some church
so-
goers. There's good Christians out there, but
There are some wonderful Christians out there. And in truth, one of the friends that she said something to was kind enough and understanding enough at that time, and this was 15, 20 years ago, to pull me to the side and say, hey, don't hang out with these people because they're going to get you by yourself. Yeah, they're going to do this intervention. And so I was like totally upset, deeply offended. You know, these were people that had been in my house, had seen the crystals, seen the herbs, like they knew what I did. And then all of a sudden, because the therapist tells them that I'm wrong, then they're like, oh, we need to hold an intervention. So you have to be careful, and you are totally allowed to walk away and find someone else. That's why I said when you find a good one, share that information.
I agree.
You know,
I'm
and
so
I would
sorry
give
that
you guys,
happened to
I
you,
would
like-
give you guys the really good team that I had, but like 4 of them aren't practicing anymore. And I hate that for our community, but I'm glad that they got to retire.
Right,
You know?
right.
But yeah, it's not
I'm walked
talking
out on a
about.
therapist.
Oh yeah. Oh, in a
Just
heartbeat.
straight up like, okay,
Heartbeat.
bye.
I have what I call hidden pain issues, and I have walked away from doctors in the middle of a doctor's appointment, literally because I had my crystals on and I was like rubbing one of them to calm myself down, and they made fun of it, and I was like, okay, I'm done, and I walked out.
You know what? That's fair. And I gotta say, like, I am so sorry that happened to you. That is unbelievably fucked up.
It is.
That's unbelievably fucked up.
Jay, I'm sorry I cut you off. The wind blew so hard that it was impossible to hear what you were saying. And the rest of you, I really want you to know what we were talking about, because what we were talking about was medical racism as it relates to pain management. And there are physicians practicing today. I'm trying not to scream at the camera. There are practicing physicians who lack a fundamental understanding of the human nervous system, or have such a cognitive disconnect that they shouldn't be practicing, because they genuinely believe that people of color, not just black people, but any non-white people often, don't feel pain the way that white people do. And I want to point out the verbiage here, because this is how I have heard it said to me by people who were trying to justify causing pain to another, just even creatures. Like, your dog feels pain the way you do, motherfucker. That, it should be disqualifying as a physician. It should be something that should, but, okay. We got too cold to continue the episode. So, where's my phone? I don't know if you could hear it. I could hear it. It's like it's just ringing in my brain. Go team. We made an episode. We did it. We got something out. It ain't what we wanted to do. We kind of just went off on the fly, because this is one of the things, trying to get back into the flow is sometimes just making yourself do a thing. So we did a thing. Here's the thing. Is it our best work? No. But I do think this is an important subject, and we probably will cover it again. Yeah.
This is Jay.
This is Dottie.
Thanks for watching Chaos Conjure,
Now empty out your sippy cup.
and pack away your wands,
Make it home before the moon rises.
and
And watch out for the knot deer.